outcompete them on the number of features they're building, because they have teams of engineers, salespeople, probably hundreds of people working for them, right? There's no way we can outcompete them on kind of their game. So what is it that we can focus on and be best at? And that's kind of like their realization was, we can be the simplest, most affordable software for local businesses without that high price tag. We don't need to build all these products or features to make it bloated. We just focus on simplicity.
Are you a scaling SaaS founder? Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those you don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where turning negative reviews into opportunities is like judo. Use the momentum of that rage tweet to land a brand loyalty win. Sounds pretty cool. I'm your host, Jeff Maines. I help B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. Where does simplicity beat scale? And how can staying lean actually give you an edge in SaaS to find that scale? In this episode, we unpack the entrepreneurial journey behind a reputation management platform built with everyday business owners in mind. Instead of chasing flashy features or complex integrations, this founder doubled down on one thing, making it incredibly easy for businesses to showcase their best reviews, and the results kind of speak for themselves. We'll explore how customer feedback shaped product development, why simplicity became their product's biggest strength, and how AI is now being used to streamline review responses without losing that personal touch. You'll also hear the hard lessons around delegation, why doing everything yourself might feel pretty noble at first, but ultimately limits your ability to grow. We all know that, but we still do it anyway. We'll also dive into what happens when founders step back from being in the weeds and step into more strategic roles that unlock real momentum. If you're building a SaaS that solves real problems and want to stay deeply aligned with your users as you grow, this episode is a blueprint for scaling smarter, not just being louder. Let's dive in. Our expert guest last Thursday was Nahed Kairala, the HR strategist behind some of the fastest growing startups on 4 continents. Nahed shared how to scale across cultures, build lean ops that don't break, and why people strategy is your hidden growth engine. And our founder last week was Harish Chandramouli, CTO turned CEO of Flare. He walked us through AI powered automation, smart data workflows, and what it really means to lead a distributed tech team with speed and precision. If you missed either episode, go back and check those out. There's a lot of cool stuff and great insights from both of those guys. My guest today is Vitaly Motuz, founder of Reviews on My Website, a reputation management platform helping businesses thrive in a digital first world. With a background in SaaS and digital marketing, Vitaly built his company around one simple idea. Reputation should be easy to manage and powerful enough to drive growth. From building websites in high school to scaling a business that serves thousands of businesses, Vitaly's journey is rooted in simplicity, adaptability, and customer obsession. He's blended automation and user feedback into a tool that makes it easy to showcase great reviews, respond authentically, and build trust online without a bunch of tech overwhelm. Welcome someone who's turning online reputation into real world results. Vitaly Motuz.
So nice to be here.
You started building websites back in high school and then later turned that side project into a full-time business, which I think is awesome. What was the moment you realized that online reviews could be your entire product?
That's a great question. It's taken me many, many projects and years to get to something that finally picked up. And I can talk a little bit more about it later. But it wasn't something I just stumbled upon randomly. It's been a long road together.
What was the big problem that you were solving when you built the first version of reviews on my website? And why was there such a gap in the market?
I was actually trying to help a friend. She owns a couple businesses and had amazing Google reviews. And in my mind, I thought if only there was an easy way to showcase some of those great reviews on her website, it would help her getting more
Yeah.
customers, right? Social proof and everything. And to my surprise back then, which was 8 years ago, there wasn't an easy way to do that. I started doing a lot of research. How do you insert reviews from Google, Facebook onto someone's website? And yeah, all the ways at the time were either outdated or not working. So that's kind of what sparked the idea.
That's really smart because we spend a lot of time trying to get those reviews and send them to, go do it on this site, and then we're not even using them on our own sites or, sharing them out other than just, if somebody happens to find them out there.
100%. And I don't know about you, but nowadays, especially, reviews is something I know I personally look at before engaging with a
Yes.
business, whether it's a service or buying products. They're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of people are doing that, whether it's, if it's a restaurant, if it's a brand, if it's, I mean, even software. Software reviews are huge, and
Mhm.
just understanding what is the experience like, and especially now with AI, is this thing even real?
100%. Yeah.
Do you focus primarily on Google, or are there other platforms that you're bringing them in from, or how does it work?
Yeah. So we started with Google, Facebook at the beginning. And over the years, we support now over 40 different review platforms. A lot of them are niche review platforms for different industries. We have a couple of platforms for home service businesses. There's a few for restaurants. There's a few platforms for healthcare. And yeah, pretty much aggregate reviews from all these different platforms into a single dashboard and then give the business opportunity to manage it from there.
That makes it easy. Is it something that non-technical people can do pretty easily, or does it take, some time to set up, and, how hard is it?
Yeah. So with our software, it's super easy, and that's kind of like one of the things that all our customers tell us is we're one of the most intuitive and simple reputation platforms out there. The setup takes literally a couple minutes. You just enter your business name on Google, and our system will aggregate all the reviews within maybe a minute or two, depending on how many reviews you have. And from there, whether you're customizing the widgets or sending review campaigns, everything is very simple. As a matter of fact, for widgets, it's all visual editing. So the business owner can simply change the color scheme to match their website. And then with the widget code we provide them, they can simply pop it into their website where they want the reviews to show up. And our system does the rest.
That's nice. And is that, did you build it that way intentionally, knowing that you're targeting, I guess, in customers that are not super technical, or is it something that, just grew up that way?
100%. So since our audience are mostly local business owners, they're usually not very tech savvy. And from day one, I wanted the platform to be as simple and user friendly as possible so that um, somebody who doesn't really understand the websites or how things work, especially development, could easily figure it out and be able to embed the reviews onto their website. Um, that's something actually it's been, I know a lot of platforms like adding more features, and this is something I've deliberately wanted to make sure we keep simple and not overdo it over the years.
Yeah. So what type of complexity is there in that, in aggregating all of the different sites? Did you start with one and then built out over time, like in the niche sites, or how did you think about market expansion?
Yeah. So when it comes to market expansion, actually, it wasn't so much adding the review platforms that helped us expand, but rather expanding um, the tools that we offer. And I can go a little bit more into that. In terms of review platforms, that's fairly easy. Once we build the primary one, Google, that's kind of number one. Everything else kind of falls into place after that. Sometimes nowadays we rely on third party platforms to help us aggregate some of the reviews from different sites. Uh, the difficulties come if, let's say, the review platform changes their layout
Yeah.
or something changes on their site, in which case we would have to manually, the developer would have to adjust our kind of like system to make sure we still get the data in the correct format. But outside of that, it's just one of those ongoing maintenances. What really helped us expand over the years was when we started, it was a simple widget. It was just a widget. Here's the code, add it to your website, and you'll see the reviews. That's it. What we have added over the years is pretty much grew into a full-fledged reputation platform. So now we allow people to send review campaigns to their customers, helping them automate the whole process of gathering reviews. So instead of having some business owners find it awkward asking for reviews, or they are scared to ask for reviews, or they forget, or it's just not a good time for the customer, we'll make it super simple. They can enter their name into the dashboard, and our system will send them automatic SMS and email review invites, making it super simple for them to get new reviews. So it kind of comes full circle. We help the business get more reviews, and then once they have more reviews with our widgets, we allow them to showcase those amazing reviews on their website.
No, that's really smart. I think getting reviews is incredibly difficult. I mean, just for all the reasons that you said. I mean, a lot of times when you're asking, it's not the most convenient time, and it for
Mm-hmm.
a lot of businesses, it is kind of an awkward ask. Shouldn't be, but I think we just perceive it that way. I don't want to inconvenience them, but I like that it's that third party of hey, how was this experience? That you're
Mm-hmm.
doing that kind of outside of the normal channels, and it gives them the ability to do that at their convenience. And the reminder, where you think about like a doctor's office, hey, go and review us on Google or Health Grades or whatever it may be. Um, which is awkward. It's like I'm standing in an office, like I'm not going to do it right now, and I'll forget 5 minutes from now. But that's pretty cool.
100%. You nailed it. Yeah. And one of the other things we kind of offer that we discovered is that um, a lot of people don't do it on the first time you ask them. Even with our
Yeah.
requests, people usually, like you said, are busy or forget. Um, a lot of the reviews come on the follow-up reminders that we send them. So the business can customize kind of like how many reminders they want to send, usually up to 2 reminders, spread a few days apart. And then we find that a lot of the reviews come on the second or third
Yeah.
reminder because like people are busy or forgetful. And if you're asking personally, there's no way you're gonna be reminding somebody, calling them like, "Hey, can you leave a review?" It's just not something that the business owner can do or scale. So that's kind of where the software helps fill that gap.
It's really, really smart. What have been the challenges in building the company?
That's a great question. Um, there's been quite a few, honestly. I like I mentioned, there's been a lot of projects that I tried making work before
Sure.
this. I'd say a lot of them didn't go anywhere, and because my background is more technical, a lot of those other projects that never went anywhere, I would get excited about a new idea. I would start building it, spend a week, day and night, just like make it perfect. And then when it came time to launch it or market it, is when I would usually either lose interest or just like hop onto some other exciting idea. And one thing I decided to do differently with this, with reviews on my website from day one, is force myself to focus on the hard part, which is marketing, getting customers, sales. And instead of building myself, I decided to hire a developer to help me build it, even though technically I guess I could build it myself. And what that did is not only was I now investing my time into it, but I also was paying somebody to build it. And that kind of forced me to stick with it and focus on sales, on getting the word out, and kind of making sure we get customers, which I find is usually the hardest part of running a business like that.
Yeah.
Some of the other challenges that has been over time, I guess, is one of the biggest ones for me has been letting go of control. And that's something I'm sure you're familiar with, especially as the business starts growing. There's so many hours in a day and so much you can do as a founder, from support, like partnerships, product. There's so much things on your plate, and it just gets to a point where it's impossible to do it all yourself in a good way. So one of the struggles for me was letting go some of the control and be open to finding help, finding somebody to bring on board to help me with some of those stuff that was taking a lot of my time. And that's something I had to learn and I'm still learning to do. But I'll give you, for example, one example of customer support. For the first 2 years, I was doing it myself every single day, responding to all the tickets. And while it was a great learning experience because I got to learn directly from our users what they're looking for and get their feedback right away, it got to a point where I was almost dreading it. It was taking so much of my time. And that's when I decided, let's see if I can find somebody to help me with that. And in my mind, it's like nobody can do as good of a job as me. I know the product the best, right? All these limiting beliefs that held me back from doing it sooner. But honestly, it's been one of the best decisions. Once I freed up my time from doing support and tickets every single day, I could focus more of my time on more high leverage tasks to help grow the business.
Oh, that's really smart. I think a lot of founders don't do that. Either they don't want to let go of control, or they're like, this is my expertise, and I don't want to do that other thing. I'll go hire somebody to do sales or marketing, and I'll do the development, and that can work too. But I really admire that you handed off the piece that you're comfortable with, and stepped into discomfort to go out there and really have those conversations and really understand deeply what it is that your customers wanted, what they needed to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. It's been a learning experience for me, and I find that's the best way to learn. You just try stuff, do stuff, see what works, and adapt. I think there's no way I would have been in a position where I'm today if I wasn't willing to change and grow in all those different ways.
What kind of mindset shift did it take to do that and to take a step like that?
I think it is a process. It's I find it's not something I just woke up one day and I was like, let's just change things up. I think that for me, something that's been on my mind for a long time and I just have to kind of like more on an analytical brain. I have to weigh in the pros and cons, but at some point, you just realize you gotta take a leap of faith and trust that things work out. And if they don't, um, treat it as a learning experience. Yeah. And that's what has been for me in many cases. Not everything that we tried has worked. And that's just part of the game. You learn and you move on and you improve.
At what point did you realize that this was something that really had legs and was going to take off versus some of the other ones that you tried and just didn't go anywhere? Was there a point where you're like, this is showing promise?
Absolutely. So I remember in 2017, that's kind of when everything started. We built the first MVP version of the software within, I believe, 3 weeks. We had the very first version online. And within the first week, I've had 2 paying customers sign up and pay for that. The random people, nobody that, none of my friends that I knew. And that kind of gave me a little bit of confirmation that this is something viable, and some strangers on the internet are willing to pay for that. And from there, honestly, it's been a snowball effect, just because of the nature of our software and how we started, which is a simple widget. On the free plan, we used to offer a free plan back then. We would have a powered by reviews on our website link at the bottom of the widget. Nice. So a lot of pretty much whenever somebody sign up on our free plan, insert it on their website, it would help more users see our company, right, and help us build more backlinks. And then if a competitor went to their website, they would see the widget, click on it, end up on our website. That's one of the things that really helped us get some traction at the beginning. And the more users we had, even on the free plan, the more exposure we ended up getting.
That is really smart. I remember you saying that you did get paying customers fast, and that's really good, getting the signups. Were there other things that made it work early, or did you have a launch strategy that you put in place to kind of get it jump started in the beginning, or was it having the link on there? Do you think that was the big turning point?
The Powered by Link has definitely, I think, what's helped us scale over the years. Now, what I started doing from day one for the first, I think, couple months, I would go on. There's been a few forums back in the day, and blog posts and articles talking about inserting Google reviews into somebody's website. However, the methods those blogs outlined were outdated. They were no longer working, and I could see people in the comments asking, hey, is there a fix to this? Is there a workaround to this? Because the method described wasn't working. So I literally just went every single blog or post I could find where people asking about this, and I would just comment like, hey, we just launched this service. There's a free plan, check it out. It makes it super easy to embed your Google reviews on your website. And that's it. I even had to manually, I remember reaching out to a few authors or owners of those sites to be like, hey, your post is outdated. Would really appreciate if you could just mention our tool as an alternative method to inserting Google reviews. Would be really helpful. A lot of them just ignored me. However, some did get back to me. Some of them did include a link to reviews on my website in their post. And I think that's one of the things that also helped us get initial users.
Oh, that's really smart. I think just something that simple, I think, is so easy for founders to miss, is just like the powered by link. It's something that it's like, well, that's not marketing. We got to go do all these crazy campaigns, launch and make it complicated, and they miss out on something as simple and powerful as that.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, that's probably not very scalable, right? It's probably not something, because it's a manual process. I'm sure nowadays there's got to be tools that help you automate this, and you could probably hire somebody to just like scout the internet, search for mentions for your keywords, and then go manual and respond. But back in the day, a lot of those things you just had to do manually, and there's no other way around it. You kind of, yeah, you figure out what works and just do more of that as much as you can.
Oh, that's really good. Are you missing key relationships that could transform your leadership? Most leaders are. They just can't see it. And here's what shocked me: the most successful leaders aren't lone heroes. They're the center of 4 specific relationships that multiply their impact while preserving their sanity. You're probably like everybody else, drowning in connections, but starving for real support. And it's creating a silent epidemic of leadership burnout among executives just like you. So, take my free assessment at thecaptainskeys.com. Discover which critical relationships you're missing in under 5 minutes, and then grab my new book, The Captain's Keys, part Netflix drama, part game changing blueprint for leadership that actually sustains you. One CEO called it the owner's manual I never got. So stop flying blind and see what you're missing. Well, how is hiring? How do you approach hiring now? As you said, you hired the developer to kind of build the app in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How is hiring? How do you think about that with as a solo founder, small company, um, even client success? You said that was you for the first couple of years. How have you approached that as you've continued to grow?
Hiring, it's been a learning experience for me. So I'm used to work, even in my previous job, I would work as with a lot of contractors, a lot of them part time. So I kind of had a lot of experience when it came to hiring, especially tech talents, whether it's a developer or a designer. I had a little bit more experience kind of knowing what questions to ask and what to look for. I think that helped me a lot. But at the end of the day, there's been a lot of people we worked with that I ended up hiring that are no longer with the company, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy. Number one is finding somebody who not only is good at what it is that they do, but is also reliable, trustworthy, and kind of is a good fit for the rest of the team, right? And it can be challenging. The current team, I feel like we're in a good place right now. We're only a handful of people. All of them are remote. A few of them are part time. So I like the idea of having a small team, which allows us to really be nimble and move quickly. So whether it's adjusting feedback or deciding to focus on certain projects, I really like that having a small team allows us to easily do that. But at the end of the day, it's still a challenge. Like it's hard to find good people, and once you do, I think it's important to do what you can, especially as a founder, to keep them and provide them an environment where they would want to work, where they'll want to thrive and kind of be proud of the work they do.
How do you create that type of environment? What is it in your organization? You say this is what we do, or these are the reasons that people stay and love what they do.
Mm-hmm. That's something I'm still trying to figure out. I feel like this is one thing I can tell you for sure is that a lot of it comes from kind of me as a founder and giving the direction, I think, is very important. This is not something I knew how to do or realized in the first years of the business. And now with us kind of having a bigger team, this is something I have been trying to work on myself more. And how do I become the person who other people want to work with?
That's good.
How do I create the kind of structure where other people want to be a part of, right? And I think it starts from the founder, right? And for me, one of the things recently that, for example, I've spent quite a bit of time working on is what is it that we're trying to solve here and who are we solving it for? I'll give you a little bit of context. Yeah, we have the software that we have built, and a lot of businesses are using it, right? But I never truly understood kind of what sets us apart, right? In my mind, I knew we're simple, we're cost effective for a lot of local businesses compared to other software. But what is it truly that we're trying to achieve here, and what's the direction we're headed? And this is something I spent a lot of time on in the last few months trying to answer that question. And I think now that I've been able to narrow down more, it's providing the simplest reputation management software for local businesses and agencies that simply works. And I didn't truly know what it means until recently, because in my mind, yeah, I kind of like, we serve local businesses, but it wasn't until recently that it actually hit me that we're not trying to compete with some of those like Bird Eye or other multi-million-dollar software. There's no way we'll outcompete them on the number of features they're building, because they have teams of engineers, salespeople, probably hundreds of people working for them, right? There's no way we can outcompete them on kind of their game. So what is it that we can focus on and be best at? And that's kind of like their realization was, we can be the simplest, most affordable software for local businesses without a high price tag. We don't need to build all these products or features to make it bloated. We just focus on simplicity. And getting to the realization and kind of having the team be part of it and laying out the kind of the direction, I think that's kind of helped us feel like we're actually making a difference. We're making a difference where the feedback we've been getting from businesses is that they're actually like getting more reviews, more customers. And that feeling of knowing we're making a difference is what helps the team feel like they want to be part of this. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Mhm.
What's your approach to prioritization when you're wearing multiple hats? I mean, maybe growth or support, product, ops, and sometimes all of those at once. How do you prioritize projects or what your focus is?
Mhm. I think there's a couple of different things we look at. Number one is obviously customer feedback, talking to customers and seeing what it is they're asking for. And depending on kind of like the importance, is it something that's just like a couple customers are asking for, or is it something that's half of our customers are asking for, right? So the more demand for a certain thing there is, the higher the chance we'll prioritize it. Number two is we'll look at the effort, what it would take to build that or design it or whatever it is, and what kind of potential ROI there is, right? If it's a marketing initiative that could help us get more qualified leads, that's probably something we'll prioritize over a feature that only a fraction of our users will benefit from, for instance, right? So it's definitely kind of like seeing where every single thing lines up in terms of, is it going to help us grow? Is it going to help our customers be more successful? And based on that, we decide. And now to add to that, now that we have a clear vision what it is we're doing and um, who is our ICP, every single project can go through this lens. Does this align with the direction we're heading at? And if it's not, then we'll probably not focus on that project.
That was actually one of the next questions I was going to ask is because you're getting that customer feedback, how much of that goes into the roadmap versus you making the decision strategically where you want the product to go? How do you balance that?
That's a tricky question. I think first of all, it's important to know who you get those requests from. Obviously, prioritizing with paying customers, not somebody who is not a paying customer. And second is how many of those customers pretty much asking for that one thing. There's been a lot. We have a whole backlog of probably a few dozen different things. We've been getting asked some platform integration, some things to improve some of the usability things. If it's easy thing, it's not going to take a lot of our time or developer time. Then a high chance we can just make the change within a day and be done with it. If it's something that's going to take more resources, more time, in that case, we would look where does it fit with everything else on our roadmap. And from there, we kind of decide, is this something that's worthwhile tackling right now, or is it something we just leave for potential later?
Oh, that's a really good way to look at it. And some of those are really hard decisions to make too. Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. Especially, I'll give you one example. Let's say you have a customer that has a lot of businesses, right? So we also offer white label platform for agencies to white label our software and resell to their clients. What happens when you get a request for a feature or a change from an agency that has, let's say, a couple hundred businesses in their account, right? Because that's a big client, right? In some software, you could call it enterprise or whatever it is. Do you prioritize them, or do you kind of like prioritize everybody else? So that's tricky. There are some a few times where that happened. We get a request from a big client like that, and just something we have to decide. Yeah, is it something worthwhile tackling now, or is it something we decide to hold on for now?
And that's probably doubly hard because you're getting it from one of your big clients who has hundreds of others, and you don't know if it was one of theirs that asked for that or if it was 50 of theirs.
Exactly. And you don't want to also disappoint or have the risk of potentially saying no, and then the whole agency being like, well, I guess we're going to look for alternatives, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a tricky thing, but we just kind of deal with it as it comes. Yeah, I don't think there's a foolproof way to handle it every time.
Sure. How do you think about scaling, the product, especially founder led, without losing simplicity or control over quality?
Mm-hmm. That's a really good question. Yeah, I can definitely see how it could become tricky, especially as the business grows and expands. Is like, how do you prioritize that? I think having my technical background is something that helps me better understand a lot of the technical kind of like how things work in the behind the scenes. And with that, just like make sure that the code we're building, the people we hire, and it's all built in a way that's scalable and not something we just scheme on right now. One thing I will add to that, at the beginning stages, it's hard when you don't know if it's going to be successful. It's hard to justify spending a lot of time and resources on building something enterprise level, very high kind of like code level behind the scenes, because you don't know if it's gonna make any money down the road, right? If it's gonna stick. So at the beginning, you gotta be nimble. You gotta kind of like try things and see what works. But once you have proof of things working and you start building and adding to it, from my experience over the years, it's very important to go back and refactor some of that code base or systems that the business is built on, just because if you go too far on kind of like adding those band-aids of temporary fixes to things, you kind of like digging yourself a hole, and inevitably sooner or later there'll be a time when something breaks, or just like more and more issues start coming up. So I definitely think it's important to prioritize long-term stability. It's just not something that I would necessarily prioritize either at the very beginning when you don't know or have the resources for that. And even now, if it's something we're trying out, like a test or a new kind of like initiative, sometimes we just try to get it out as quickly as possible, not necessarily prioritizing, let's say, the best code behind it, right? Making sure it works, but let's just test it. And if users like it, this is something we're keeping around, we'll go back, refactor it, make sure it's sound, and go from there. If it's something that we're not keeping, then obviously not too much time was wasted on it.
That's a really good approach. Yeah, especially today, because you can get something out that's workable, and it may not be the best way to do it if it's going to have massive scale, but at that point you don't know, and so you're just rolling out a feature, and is it something that people are going to use or like or not, and so you don't have near the resources, I think, historically that put into new features to see if it's going to fly. Yeah, is this something that's going to be a permanent part of the product? Whether that's to a beta group of customers or even general release, is this something we're going to keep? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you nailed it.
Well, I think that reviews are absolutely critical. We talked about that. They really build trust, but there's also a lot of anxiety around negative reviews. What's your take on handling bad reviews strategically?
Absolutely. So negative reviews is just something that's inevitable when doing business. I think at some point as a business owner, you encounter people who are either frustrated or didn't have the best experience. It's just part of doing business. And I think instead of being anxious or potentially worried about getting a negative review, business owners should look at it as an opportunity to grow, learn from, and show other future customers that you care. And how you do that is by responding to reviews. That's something we recommend business owners do, not just to negative reviews, but also positive reviews. Because first of all, it shows customers you're listening. You actually read their feedback. You take the time to respond and take the time to improve whatever the issue was. And it helps future customers show, okay, this owner cares, right? I want to do business with them. One other thing I'd like to point out is that if a business, let's say you're searching for I don't know, plumbing company or a tile company, and you see a perfect 5-star rating on Google with hundreds of reviews, oftentimes it looks a little bit questionable. I don't know how about you? But it's like, how is it possible that a company has never had somebody not happy with its services? It's like makes you question: are all these other reviews even real? So I think negative reviews are not necessarily bad. It's what you do with it, and if you take the time to respond to them, to address their concern, and focus on having great service, then it should help you get more customers down the road, show other people you care, and it's a trustworthy business.
Oh, that's good. How do you think AI and automation will shape the future of reputation management and marketing over the next few years?
I think a lot of things have already been changing with the introduction of AI over the last couple of years. I think it presents a lot of opportunities for consumers and especially for businesses who are able to harness AI in their day-to-day operations. Whether it's so, we currently use AI to help business owners generate review replies. So instead of the owner having to kind of like, what do I respond? With the click of a button, we give them a personalized response suggestion they can use to help save them time. Um, I think there's so many more uses to AI that the business can benefit from, whether it's um, reputation or email or sales. There's a lot of uses to that. And I think over the next few years, it's just going to keep growing, becoming more advanced and accessible.
Yeah.
So businesses who are skeptical or not willing to be open-minded and use it to their advantage, I think are just gonna be left behind versus businesses who are open to using AI in one or other way in their day-to-day operations. I think the gap between those is just gonna keep
Yeah.
increasing, and um, I think there's a lot of opportunities already, and even more so in the next few years.
Very good. Where can people learn more about you and about reviews on my website online?
They can go to our website, review on my
Amazing.
website.com, or also, yeah, um, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I try to respond to people and be in on LinkedIn more. So LinkedIn or our website.
Oh, that's really good. And if people want to see how it works, they can actually go and see it on your website and actually see the reviews the people are leaving about reviews on my website, so they can actually experience
Exactly.
what
We
it's
have
like.
a widget. Exactly. We have our own widget on our website so they can easily preview what it will
Yeah,
look like.
it's very cool. Vitaly, it's been such a great conversation. Thanks for being on SaaS Fuel.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks again, Vitaly, for coming on the show and sharing your insights and resources. You can learn more about Vitaly and his company, Reviews on my website, at reviewsonmywebsite.com. It's a pretty easy domain. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at, you know where, saasfuel.com, of course. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. We have short, full length episodes, trainings, outtakes, lots more for you over there on YouTube. And that is at Champion Leadership is our channel. Thought leaders share. Share this episode with a friend who uses AI tools like duct tape, magically fixing everything somehow. And everyone who shares this week gets a multi-tool browser plugin called Prompt Daddy. Cuts meeting times in half, automates your brilliance, and generates exactly one Shakespearean haiku per Slack thread. What happens when a CFO thinks like a founder and scales like an operator? Next week, Casey Wu joins us to share how he's helped companies navigate the gauntlet from seed to scale, IPOs to exits. With experience as a 6-time CFO and co founder of the Operators Guild, this one is packed with playbooks for high growth, high clarity leadership. Then, after that, what does it take to build tech that saves lives and stand out in healthcare's most competitive verticals? James Piacentino from Thrive Genetics is going to be with us. He's going to unpack how he's merging AI, diagnostics, and business to scale the next wave of healthcare innovation. If you're building in health tech or biotech, you definitely won't want to miss this. Well, I will see you next time, and as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/saasfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.